Welcome to another episode of Theological Pipe. News, culture, sports, politics, and everything else from a theological perspective.
It's all summed up in love.
What should I do? Tell me. God is good. Give it to me, give it to me, give it to me, give me peace. Give me peace.
Put that in your theological pipe and smoke it.
Hey, welcome to another episode of Theological Pipe. Man, if you're watching on YouTube, click subscribe or like or comment or all three. If you're listening on Google or Apple or Spotify, click the subscribe button. I appreciate everyone listening. There's an acronym that's going around these days. It's ACAB. All cops are bad. You might want to substitute a different word for B if you want to be a little bit cruder, but ACAB, all cops are bad. And that kind of drives a lot of the protests. And even though the protests are based on information that's not correct, the stats do not bear out what people are protesting. Are there areas that we can reform the police? Sure. Are there areas for improvement in society? Absolutely. But that phrase, all cops are bad, is really silly, and it's rooted in that critical theory that I've talked about before, the critical race theory. And that's the thing that Donald Trump, one of the good things that he's done. I'm not a big Trump fan. I'm not a hater either. But one of the good things he's done is banned critical race theory from being taught in our government institutions. And critical race theory teaches that all white people are racists. And therefore we need to atone for our racism. All white people. Not just the people that owned slaves back in the day, every single white person. And since all white people are racist, and it was white people who founded the United States of America, therefore the United States of America is racist. And that's kind of how the theory goes. It's a critical theory, critical race theory. You could do critical gender theory. Pick a characteristic, you pick a group, and then you assign something to that group based on their inclusion in that group. And that's critical theory, critical race theory. If you're white, you're racist. Hitler used it. If you're Jewish, you're subhuman, and we're going to send you to concentration camps and kill you because you're the cause of our problems. This is just something that has gone on. And so all cops are bad is the thing that Black Lives Matter and those Antifa, those movements, and I think those movements are kind of connected. It's a thing that they use and they say in their hashtags and stuff. And it's an evil, idiotic, lazy, moronic theory, and it has no business being taught. The sad part is, even people who we consider that should be smart, they believe in it. It's in the universities, it's at our schools, and I am thankful that Donald Trump banned critical race theory from being taught in government institutions. It shouldn't be taught anywhere. And the good part is, it seems like the more people learn about it, the more people understand it, the more people are like, yeah, that's stupid. I don't believe that. That's dumb. You can't brand one group of people bad or good based on the actions of a few of those people. That's the very definition of racism, right? If you say all cops are bad, all white people are bad, all black people are bad, all Jewish people are bad. No, we judge people based on who they are, the content of their character, and what they are and what they do and what they believe. So the all cops are bad, the critical race theory, it's just dumb, it's idiotic, and it's part of the Black Lives Matter movement, which again, we've talked about before. The phrase Black Lives Matter is not problematic, it's the movement. It's the organization which is problematic. And go on their website and read what they believe. Again, Marxist, anti-American, anti-family, anti-male. They want to abolish the police. They want to dismantle the United States of America. It's just a bad organization. And their leaders say even worse things. And you could go on YouTube, you can go on Twitter, you can go anywhere you want, Google it, and look at Black Lives Matter and see what they say. They're on video with megaphones saying, hey, we can loot these places because these owners have insurance and it's rightfully ours anyway. We're going to take it. They have insurance. They cheer the looting and the burning of businesses and think that it's somehow justified, even though the businesses that they're burning sometimes are black-owned businesses or minority-owned businesses, or who cares who owns it? It's a business. You don't burn it down just because you think all white people are racist, which again is dumb on itself and it's evil on itself. It leads to nothing but bad outcomes. Sometimes the worst outcomes. Again, look at World War II. So that being said, I was heartened I don't know if that's a real word. I don't want to say excited, but I was pleasantly surprised that one soccer team, I think it was in Major League Soccer or whatever, they had a Black Lives Matter patch on their uniform, and they issued a statement, I think it was today, saying, we're taking the patch off. And the statement was, we've looked into what Black Lives Matter believes, we've looked into what their beliefs are and what they're teaching, and we don't like it. We don't agree with it, so we're taking it off our uniform. Amen. Like, yes. And I think if more organizations, the NBA, the NHL, Major League Baseball, the NFL, LeBron James, Drew Brees, Steve Kerr, all these people that lecture people and say they support Black Lives Matter, someone needs to ask them, do you support being anti-family? Do you support being anti-male? Do you support the destruction of America? Do you support abolishing the police? Do you think that all cops are bad? Do you think that all whites are racist? Because those are their core beliefs. And again, when I say Black Lives Matter, I am sort of including Antifa in there, because they kind of, maybe one's co-opting the other, but they all work together and they're all protesting the United States. So to see that group, that soccer team take that patch off, I was like, yes, people are finally getting it. And I think enough people on social media and enough people are being vocal about it that the word is getting out that, you know what, Black Lives Matter is not a cool thing. It's just not. The organization is evil. And you're seeing that also reflected, possibly it's the reason why the NBA ratings are down, why the NFL ratings are down, at least the initial ratings. Talked about before where I think sports can bring people together, but when they push that anti-American, anti-family, anti-cop, anti-male, Marxist thing, people boo. People get upset. People don't watch. So I was excited to see that at least one team took that off their uniform. And I would hope and pray that more teams follow suit after what happened over the past couple days. 2 police officers sitting in their car not doing anything. A black guy walks up and shoots both of them in the head. Execution style. The cops are taken to the hospital. Black Lives Matter people on social media and on the internet and places are cheering the shooter. They are excited about the cops being shot. They go to the hospital, surround the hospital, protest at the hospital, and cheer and chant for the cops to die. One was a mother who has a 6-year-old. The other one, I don't know, he's in his 20s or 30s, but they were sitting in their car not doing anything, and they get shot in the head. And Black Lives Matter is praising it on social media, and they go to the hospital and are cheering for their death and taunting anyone that goes into the hospital. That should be the end of the movement. That should be the end of any organization's connection to Black Lives Matter, period. We should do better than that. It's evil, and there's no justification for it. There's no, you got to think of it this way. It's done. We're done. That should be the end of it. Unbelievably, how disgusting do you have to be? How soulless do you have to be as a person to praise the shooter who does what he did, then to go to the hospital and chant for them to die? You have no soul. You need to get right with God. You need to find Jesus. I'll try to make this positive. Find Jesus, man. I get angry with these people. I get upset with these people. I'll pray for them. You can't have that mentality. Let's pretend you are Marxist. Let's pretend you are anti-family for whatever reason. Let's pretend you're anti-male for whatever reason. Let's pretend you hate America for whatever reason. Let's pretend you ascribe to the idiotic critical race theory for whatever reason. It does not excuse going to a hospital and cheering for people to die who have been shot in their car execution style, especially a mother of 6. Are you kidding me? So I hope people will wake up now. I hope it'll be the end. But then last night, what happens? A crazed guy who has 4 times in the past stabbed people. A crazed guy rushes a police officer. The police officer runs away. He's running away from the guy, and he turns around. The guy's coming for him, and he shoots him. What does Black Lives Matter do in Rochester? They riot. They throw bricks. They try to destroy things. They harass people. Okay, so what we're going to do now is, no matter what happens, even if it's justified, we're going to riot. You could go watch the video from the police officer. The guy was crazed with a knife running after him. And the cop was running away. He was gaining on him. He turned away and he shot him, which, again, I think that's sort of justified. I don't like people getting shot. I wish they didn't get shot. I also wish they wouldn't rush cops with a knife. I also wish they would follow do what they're, not resist. And I wish cops would do. I mean, we could talk about doing better, but if we're going to riot and we're going to destroy things and we're going to cheer for people to death, you've lost any moral high ground. You've lost any goodwill that you thought you might have had. And if you still have goodwill for those people, you really need to check your soul. You really need to check your heart. And like I said, man, I hope you open your heart to God and to Jesus or to some higher power or something that will make you realize, man, we shouldn't be doing what we're doing here. It's ridiculous, and I cannot believe it. So again, props to the soccer team that took Black Lives Matter off their shirt or off their jerseys. And man, NBA, NHL, Major League Baseball, NFL, LeBron James, Steve Kerr, James Harden, Drew Brees, Joe Thomas. I can go list a whole bunch of people. Wake up, open your eyes, do the right thing here. You can reverse the trend right now of ratings. You can still fight for justice. I don't like putting words in front of it, because when you put a word in front of it, it modifies the word. Everyone's for justice. You can fight for justice. You can fight for better opportunities for people. But you don't do it with an organization that cheers the death of a mother and another cop. You don't do it for an organization that riots after a justified shooting. You don't do it. You need to be smarter than this. And that's what I hope. I hope people's eyes will continue to be opened up, because we can do better. We can do so much better, and the sports world can do so much better. It can bring people together, and what they don't realize is when you support an organization like that, you are really just telling a bunch of people you don't know what you're talking about. Because I think if anyone would listen to what the Black Lives Matter leaders say, if they would listen to what they say after things happen, if they would look at their website, you would realize this isn't an organization we need to support. And I'm not calling everyone that supports Black Lives Matter a racist, a Marxist, someone who cheers people who are, who are shot, someone who wants to riot the second something happens, even if it's justified. But that's their rules. I'm just saying is you need to look at that organization and you need to really rethink supporting it. I think there's better ways to do what you're trying to do, which can bring people together and make things better in this country instead of dividing it. So hopefully, man, again, if this doesn't do it, if Black Lives Matter cheering for the death of 2 cops who were shot execution style, one a mother of 6, if this doesn't change people's attitudes and people in power, organizations with leadership, if it doesn't change it, if they are going to turn a blind eye to them going to a hospital and chanting for the death of those cops, then we're further lost than I thought we are. And I don't think we are. I don't think it's that bad, but maybe it is, and maybe I'm just naive. But I hope not. I hope this is an eye-opener for people. I mean, it should have been an eye-opener when businesses were burned. It should have been an eye-opener when places were looted. It should have been an eye-opener when they said ACAB. It should have been an eye-opener when they said all white people are racist. It should have been an eye-opener when they said, hey, we're going to go loot stores and these people have insurance. That should have been the eye-opening thing. It should have been the eye-opener when they said we're Marxist or anti-American or anti-family or anti-man. That should have been the eye-opener. It wasn't. But man, I hope and pray that at least this brings some attention to this, to what they're doing and what critical race theory is and what it leads to and what the Black Lives Matter movement is all about. It's, again, a Marxist anti-American movement, and we don't need to support it. Support black people. Fight for justice. You just need to pick a different organization to do it with, because this is an evil organization, and I think it was on full display the other day. So one thing that, one of the things that I've talked about with other people is, well, what can I do? I have a small podcast, a few people listen to it. There's people that are listening that, they don't have any real political power. They don't really have any power. You know what you could do as a believer? You could pray. Pray not just for leaders to open their eyes, but pray for the people of those groups to open theirs, to open their hearts, and to change their ways, because prayer is powerful and prayer works. So maybe I'll leave you with that. That's your theological pipe moment. Pray for people's hearts to be changed and pray for people's eyes to be opened, because we can fix this. We can fix some things in this country. We just have to be willing to do it. So put that in your theological pipe and smoke it. And as always, be nice. See you next time.
I want you to be nice. Okay. Ask him to walk, but be nice. If he won't walk, walk him, but be nice. If you can't walk him, one of the others will help you, and you'll both be nice.